Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I want to say thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'm going to make this very, very quick, but I thought I would do a quick analysis on a stock that I actually just bought, but I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm just letting you know that I was studying it a little bit just to see what was going on with the company. And the company is called Tesla. Tesla is run by a guy by the name of Elon Musk. You probably know who Elon is. If you're watching on the Black Financial Channel, you can actually see the screen share. This is Elon Musk in the image. And Elon is kind of seen as a visionary in the tech industry for what he's been doing with Tesla, which is kind of a disruptor for automobiles. I'm a fan of the Tesla car. I've actually looked into buying one because I just like the idea of a guy saying, I want to, build rocket ships and go to Mars and all that good stuff. So I think that's good for the world. But right now, Tesla's kind of struggling. You can see right here that the stock has fallen after the company missed its expectations for earnings for the first quarter. In fact, one of the analysts, one of their Super Bowls, so one of the guys that's really loved Tesla stock for the longest time, a guy named Daniel Ives at a company called Wedbush, he actually cut his rating from neutral to neutral from outperform. He used to actually predict that Tesla stock was going to go up, and he wanted people to buy it. Now he's saying I'm just neutral. He's not saying sell, but he is saying I'm not really a big fan anymore. And one of the things that he says here is, in our 20 years of covering tech stocks on the street, we view this quarter as one of the top debacles we've ever seen, while Musk and company, in an episode out of the Twilight Zone, act as if demand and profitability will magically return to the Tesla story. Ives wrote in a note to investors, ultimately, we believe the company's guidance is aggressive and management, the board, is not taking aggressive enough cost-cutting actions and shutting down future endeavors to preserve capital and give a sustained path to profitability for the street. So what it sounds like to me is that he's not satisfied with the answers that Musk and company have been giving the analysts in terms of why they didn't meet their earnings expectations. Wall Street stocks are driven pretty much by expectations. It's not so much about how much money you're going to make. It's about whether or not you make the amount of money that you say you're going to make. So Tesla was expected to make a loss, but it wasn't expected to be a gigantic loss. It was supposed to be, a modest loss on their way to profitability. And they've been telling, the management apparently has been telling investors, we're going to be profitable in 2019. 2019 is where we're going to really do it. And a lot of people are starting to doubt that now, especially after poor performance in the first quarter. Now, the results are kind of mixed. There are some analysts who say, oh, this is garbage, this is a mess. When you interpret what this one guy just said, basically it sounds like what he's saying is, you need to cut your costs, and I think that what he's also arguing is that your extensive investment into future endeavors, your desire to commit to growth, is causing you to have potential cash flow issues and profitability issues. So if you think about a company that you might own yourself, let's say you've only got 20 grand in the bank, but you really want to grow to a massive company, so you have to keep investing in marketing or research and development or travel, whatever it takes, or inventory, just all these investments you have to make to grow the company. Well, that's going to hurt your cash flow, and it's also going to hurt your ability to be profitable now. So a lot of people, they sort of, I think Wall Street treats Tesla a little bit the way like the way they treated Amazon when they first got started. Amazon took a while to become profitable, but I think that the patience is kind of growing thin, and they're sort of looking at Tesla like, okay, come on now, when you gonna make a profit? So so that's what that particular analyst is saying. I believe that drove a lot of the drop in the stock price. As you might be able to see, on the screen. Let me see if I can share the screen. If you can't see it on the screen, you might be on my phone. So don't worry, I'll just describe what I'm showing you on the screen. But you can see here, when you look at this, you see what the stock price was hovering around 267. Now it's down to 252. It took a big drop today, and in fact, actually, the Tesla stock price over the past year has actually dropped. Tesla has not been a good investment for its investors. It's been a pretty bad place to put your money, at least in the past year. You can see here, this is what's happened today, but you go back 5 days, you get that. A month, you get that. 6 months, you get that. Now, you go year to date for the entire year, you can see Tesla was as high as 347, and now it's down to 258. That means that if you invested at the 347 mark, you're going to be pretty upset right now. But if you look at Tesla over a 5-year period, a lot of money's been made. If you bought Tesla stock, say back in 2014, you paid about $200 for that. So even even with the drop, if you bought a while back, you could have made money, right? If you go all the way back to before 2010 or 2011 or whatever, you could buy the stock for $25-$30 at a time, right? And so ultimately, a lot of these tech companies, of course, the thing that you always want to be able to do is get in early while the company is still small, but you never know which company is going to become the next Tesla. Now, one thing that I want to caution about, or if I were talking to analysts or Elon Musk or whatever about my concerns with Tesla, is I'm really concerned about the idea that a lot of Tesla's value is driven by the fact that they have this big celebrity CEO. I think a celebrity CEO, this guy that everybody loves and people want to buy Teslas because they think Elon's cool and all that. What if Elon dies? What if Elon gets smeared? He gets caught up in some sort of scandal with a woman and people decide that he's a bad person or whatever, then that's going to really hurt the value. Like literally billions of dollars in value will be lost overnight if somebody were to go and just smear Elon Musk. In fact,
we're going to move on to Tesla, I think here.
So let me turn this off. So in fact, the company's market cap is about $42 billion. I would argue definitely that if something were to happen to Elon Musk's reputation, you would see, at least a couple $1 billion in market value just disappear overnight, maybe 10 billion. I think that's kind of a scary thing. I also think that his issues with the SEC are a problem in that he's kind of an aggressive guy. He reminds me a little bit of a smart Donald Trump. Donald Trump he's the dumb version of himself, whereas Elon Musk is the smart version of Trump. And what I mean by that is that you see Musk getting on Twitter and getting into Twitter beefs with people and saying things on Twitter that get him in trouble. He's in fact still dealing with the SEC on an investigation over a tweet that he made about people potentially buying the company. The problem is you can't do that because when information is released by the CEO, that affects the stock price, which affects people's money, which leads to lawsuits as a result of what you said. So the release of information is extremely important when it comes to stock. Now, I think the big question for Tesla is whether or not Tesla has a cold, or if Tesla has pneumonia, or even cancer, right? And what I mean by that is, analysts, I think right now the big debate is, are Tesla's economic problems temporary? Is this coming from, some temporary issues? Like I think some of the analysts were citing changes in the tax code or tax tax benefits expiring and a couple little things happening that they don't they can't control, but they're going to kind of go away, and earnings will recover in the following quarter, where they'll at least make expectations and do better than they did this quarter. But then some people are saying that there's no evidence to say that the demand is automatically going to go up. I mean, if you look at Tesla, their revenue went up this year versus last year. I think they made $4.5 billion this year in revenue as opposed to $3.4 billion last year. But I think that they were expected by analysts to make about $5.4 billion. So they're looking at Tesla like, okay, wait a minute, you said you were going to make this much more money, but you only made that much more money, and also your profitability has dropped. You're losing more money than you said you were going to lose, so you're doing worse than you said you were going to do, and we were giving you a lot of leeway. And I think that looking at all the money that Tesla's spending is causing a problem. I think also the fact that the management is considering another equity offering in order to raise more money, it makes them wonder if Elon Musk is really committed to the cost-cutting measures that he says he's committed to, right? Which I think is going to be hard for Musk, because I get a sense that Musk is just a guy who's a risk taker. He's a guy that likes to make investments for the future. He's a guy that likes growth. He's a guy that likes to push the boundaries. If you remember when he started his company, I think it was, I don't know if it was PayPal or it was after PayPal, but something like that, where he he had $100 million and he got down to his last $2 million or something before things took off and he got financing. So he likes to push things to the edge, and I don't think that he's a guy that likes to live without trying to grow. So I think that's the thing about Tesla that's going to be interesting, is watching how he kind of handles the fact that they might actually put some constraints on what he's able to do. And I also really predict that within the next couple of years, I don't think Elon Musk will be running Tesla. I think that they're going to come in and say, okay, thank you very much. In fact, I compared him. I said he's a smart Donald Trump. He's not a bad person. I think Trump's a bad person. A bad leader. Let's say that. I don't want to talk about what kind of person he is, but maybe he reminds me a little bit more of a Steve Steve Jobs. You know, just this brilliant guy who's good for running the company in a certain context, but eventually the company may push him out. If you remember, Steve Jobs was pushed out of Apple, but when Jobs got pushed out of Apple, Apple lost a lot of its value. It lost a lot of its oomph that made it a special company. So in that case, Jobs was brought back and Apple became what it is now. So I think that with Elon Musk being pushed out, I do believe he's going to be eventually pushed out. I do believe that Tesla's going to see a tremendous loss in value when that happens. Whether it'll be the same as the Steve Jobs story, I guess time will tell. Because I don't think Tesla is really that important to Elon. I feel like he's doing Tesla in order to eventually go to Mars. I think that's all Elon's thinking about is how can I use this technology, with electric cars and this technology with I think solar power, and I think it's a company that has to do with solar energy or whatever. How do I use all of that to get to Mars? I think that's really what he wants to do. So I respect that passion, but I think as an investor, it kind of makes you wonder what's going to happen. If you want to know what I did, I went ahead and bought some stock options on Tesla stock, but I'm not real deep in Tesla. But I do think that they are going to recover. I do believe that I do think that they have a cold, and I don't believe they have long-term pneumonia. And I think also when things go bad like that, I sort of measure how good is the management? How much faith do I have in the management to make the adjustments necessary to do a little bit better next time? And when they do, you do see a reversal. You'll see a movement in the stock price. So again, I'm not giving you investment advice, but that's just my 2 cents. That's my thought. That's my thought on this issue. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day, and do me a favor, if you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, if you haven't learned yet, I have a great class. It's at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. theblackstockmarketprogram.com is part of the Black Business School. You don't have to be black to be in the Black Business School, but it's kind of like a Catholic school where you don't have to be Catholic, but it's run by Catholic people. So that's kind of what the Black Business School is, and it's something that I teach and something that I do. So take care. Please hit the thumbs up button before you go, and if you want to take a look at some of my books or something like that, you can go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. See you soon. Bye-bye.